So the title of today, and it is a big welcome along for those of you who are live. Stay to the end. We've got Q&A right at the end, and generally Q&A turns into some mini coaching. So if you want to ask some questions around it all, nothing really is off limits. I've got another half an hour at the end to share with you guys how to leverage pod guesting to attract more clients and make sales faster with less stress. And to me, that is one of the biggest things it's been able to do for me over the last X number of years. So I told you got some work to do, and I need you at this point of time to just type into the chat, and I'll pull that up so I can see some of the biggest things. What's the number one thing that you would like out of today? And we have, I'll get my in color, more podcasts. What else we got? Access to good quality podcasts, how to launch. Got it. Yep. Understand how to launch, get started, what platform. Okay. As far as the podcasting goes, we're not going to cover very much of that at all. How to leverage podcasting, we can. So not much of the technical, if any, is going to be done to do. How to script a call. Okay, so basically what we're looking at is how to get it going, and so we're how and how to leverage. Took the words out of my mouth. How to leverage podcasts. Uh, is there anyone here? It's an easier question. I'm expecting not much response. Is there anyone here that does not have a business that you want to leverage podcasting for? So you just want to get out there and you've got plenty of time on your hands and you thought I'd fill it in by getting on as a podcast guest. Or do most of you have a business that you want to leverage it? Cool. Okay. So it hit me just the other day that we've got 3 months and we're in 2025. So what would it mean to you, or where are you at right now? First question, where are you at right now? Do you have a plan and a system to be ready for 2025 to increase your business by at least 25%? Do you have a plan and a system for that? Because we've only got 3 months and we've got some good yeses coming through. Great. What would it mean to you if you, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, could develop a system so that over Christmas, you can actually take the time off without stress and know that you're actually got a plan, a system, and a framework to have quality clients come to you ready to work with you? Joanne said, I'll be dancing. Okay, well, that's what we want to work towards, to be able to have good quality time off and not stress about it already in place so that when you get to 2025, you all only need to flick the switch and turn it on. Or if you've got a couple of hours a week over it, you can actually start generating all of this just 2 hours a week. So here's what we're going to be looking at today. And to help me, and where you're at is where you're at. And there's been multiple times that I've been all three of these next categories, depending on what I'm doing with any particular business. So I know we've got some people in here that are emerging in a business or their new business, swapping it into a business in growth phase or in leverage phase. So if you just want to type one of those numbers in, and there's no judgment because where you're at is where you're at. You could be emerging, you could be growth. If you're under 5K a month, you're emerging. You're in growth, 5 to 10, and you want to leverage, then we've got 3 and above. Okay. What's been the hardest thing so far to grow your business? Just what do you see as the hardest thing right now to grow your business? Want to transition one to another? Great. We've got lots of great comments coming through, a multiple of different people that are in the room right now. Finding an audience, getting clients, enrolling clients. Cool, all of that. Marketing, reaching as we go as a client's couples, they tend to hide. Time, Pete, good to see you, mate. Attracting, all of those are great, okay? And most of them can be addressed with what you're going to be learning today. Okay, we're going to give you some frameworks. And the way, and some of you have been on a number of my masterclasses, and some of you are actually currently in my training. And you know how I work is I give you some good information, a nugget, and then show you how potentially other people are using it. So you can say, yeah, I could use it. I'm just like them and I could use it that way. So it's not just give you a bucket load of information. It's here's some information and here's how you use it. And let's work out what it would mean to you to be able to implement it into your life and or your business. Because, you know, when it boils down to it, there's three ways people work. I'm not going to ask you which one are you. Quite often there's guesswork. I'm going to have a crack at this. I'm going to have a go at this. I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this and I'm going to try this. A lot of people do that and they see things out in free courses. They see things out on social media. Other people are doing it. I might copy them and I might copy that person. I might try a bit of that. Generally, that is guesswork. It's not a good way to run your business. Now, I would probably guess that most of you work hard in your business. Quite often you work hard in your business because you're actually using guesswork. So that really forces people to work hard if you're just trying one thing after another without following the proven next one, which is framework. When you are working with somebody or following a proven framework, it makes it so much easier. You keep on the path, you take the guesswork out. You may not be taking the hard work out, but you know you're going in the right direction. When you work with somebody and follow a proven framework, it's like bowling with the bumpers up. It is so much easier to get the ball to the other end. And wouldn't it be great to know that you can go full steam ahead? The bumpers are up. You're not going to fall off the cliff. If you start going off in the wrong direction, there's going to be somebody there to bring you back in and keep you on the path. How many times have you joined a course, bought something, you started doing it, you hit a roadblock, there was no one there to help you, and you said, stuff it. Throw your hands up in the air and say, well, that's it. I'm off the track. And those who are already in parts of some of my programs, you're here, know that we don't leave anybody behind. It's like, well, we've got some work to do, and you can always come in and we will put the bumpers up and you will be able to use those. So your training today is broken into three main parts and the three big parts to be able to grow your business. The first thing is to stand out above your competition. Okay, that's the first thing. We're going to help you stand out above your competition. The second is how to get in front of more of your ideal clients. Wouldn't that be great to be able to just turn up and know that there's a group of your ideal clients sitting in front of you, listening to you, and be able to be there wanting to hear what you're doing. The last thing is a big thing, and that is, how do you sell more easily? There's no point getting all of these leads, getting all of this exposure if you can't have the right conversation to be able to sell more easily. And that's what we're looking at today. These three things. Put in a number 3 in the chat if you want to be handed the framework to include all of these three things in your business today. If I covered this three threes, if I covered this today in a way that you could implement it, would you be happy? Got lots of threes happening. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah. Okay. So, well, I better get into it and teach you what we're going to teach today, because it is a part of what we call the PodGuest Profits Fast Track. Most of you don't know, I was a professional athlete. I was a national track champion, and it was in sprints, 100 meters to 400 meters. So I don't really like long marathons, and I really do like sprints and achieving fast results. So that's why we do have the PodGuest Profits Fast Track. Today, we are going to first look at creating you, be the prize, stand out, and be attractive to a lot of people. How do you connect with more of your ideal target market? And today we're going to be talking about how do you do that as a quality PodGuest. And then how do you convert them? How do you take them from being an audience to be able to invest in what it is that you're doing? And how do you enjoy it? Because I know a lot of people out there, and I know we've got a couple of people in the room who are damn good at sales, brilliant at sales and sales coaching. But there are not that many of you that really get up of a morning and say, I can't wait to go and sell today. Today, you're going to have some frameworks to be able to enjoy it. But most importantly, the other people will enjoy it and they will want to work with you. Are you okay with that? So put in BP, BP for blueprint, that if we follow this blueprint today, you're going to be happy. If I give you the framework to implement this blueprint, then that's what we're after. Permission to go on a mini rant before I do a little bit of teaching and coaching with you today. Because PodGuesting, a green light, thanks, Mark. That's all. I just need one. I just need one of you to say that I can go on a mini rant, because PodGuesting and podcasting has become very popular. And when something becomes popular, there are lots of so-called gurus out there teaching you all about it. A lot of people are out there are teaching you how to monetize your podcast. Now they're starting to teach you how to so-called be a great podcast guest. A lot of them are teaching you how to be a good interviewee. That is not a profitable podcast guest. Today, we're talking about how to be a profitable podcast guest. There's people out there that are ex-weather reporters that are saying, I can teach you how to be a profitable podcast guest. In the next 2 to 3 minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly where all of this information is coming from, so that if you have a choice of either working with me or there's other people out there, then you can see that, well, there is substance behind what I'm teaching you today. So I'm pulling it all together for you right now. And here is where it's all come from. I just haven't learnt this and come up with them concepts and said, hey, I'm a guru in this. What you're getting today dates back to 1984, and it's going right through where it's built, and you'll hear where all this is coming from and have confidence that it's actually working. So here it is. In 84, in 83, I opened up a health club. I had a kids program, and we started licensing it out throughout where I was living, the Hunter Valley. And there was a TV show that was a 3-hour typical kids TV show. And I said, hey, you should have a workout segment for kids. And they said, well, that's a great idea. Come down, do a trial. So I got a 4-week trial that lasted 2 years. Now, I was quite good at teaching kids activities programs, loud, entertaining, got into the studio, and I actually thought they're going to tell me, hey, Steve, look, tone it down. Did my first bit, cameras everywhere. The kids were there, the hosts were there, had to interact with all of them. I got up into the edit suite and watched them edit it. And I looked at what I did and I thought, shit, that's boring. Pardon the French, I don't normally swear. I said, that is so boring. And I thought, what I'm doing down here does not transfer to what's coming through the camera. So every week, week after week after week for 2 years, I would do my segment. I'd hang around and watch the other people. I'd go into the edit suite, see what I was doing, see how I could make it better and better and better. And by the end of those 2 years, I was very comfortable. I knew what was going on. I was hanging out with all the people and virtually being coached week after week for 2 years on how to present on camera. Now, we did end up franchising that throughout Australia and also globally. We franchised it into 5 other countries. A picture of me in Hong Kong. Do you believe that this image is on Getty Images? They're selling it for $47. Who would want to buy a picture of me teaching kids in Hong Kong exercise? But anyhow, this also goes to show the business side of it, being able to travel the world and be able to communicate. And that's another part of what you need to think about. There was a period of 8 years where I was a speaker, speaking in 8 to 10 countries per year. Every country and city that I went to, that I flew into, I went to either the TV studio or the radio studio and did an interview. Now, if you've ever been on a TV interview that was being recorded and you've thought, and you watched it back, but they edited out these bits and I didn't mean to say that. It's your fault. Over a very short period of time, because I had to promote the event that I was speaking at to get people there. And if they didn't turn up, I wasn't getting invited back. My whole job relied on me doing short interviews and promoting an event, and to be able to do it without being pitchy or sleazy. So over those 8 years and hundreds of interviews, I developed a framework and a core to be able to communicate with people out there and want to do something with you. Now, that all was tucked away for quite some time until I started podcasting. I thought I can bring that back out again. So the framework that I'm teaching you has been built over a decade and hundreds of interviews to be able to promote things without being pushy or sleazy. Very shortly later on, I hosted a network TV show myself, wrote one for Warner Brothers, was executive producer, and it lasted on TV for 13 years. So when we get to the camera work, the presenting work, and connecting with people through the lens, put a C in there if you think there might be something that I could teach you about being on camera. And that's where this comes from. I can help you get your magnetic personality, become addictive on camera, and really connect with the people through that lens. So that's the interviewing and the presenting side of it. On the business side, it's all about business. I'm here to help you in your business, not just to have fun and be a nice guest, but to help you all about business. And they're just a couple of the international businesses that I built. Invented an environmental product. We ended up selling 4 million into 26 countries. So on the business side of things, when those of you who join us on the program, there is virtually nothing off limits that you can ask me about your business. So it's not going to be just, we're going to talk about podcasting. If you've got something about your business you want to ask about, then you're going to be able to come and ask as well. On the other side of it, here's my geeky nature, is 5 years ago, I was introduced to this company and I've been working with them ever since, Decision Labs. They have proven research to get inside your buyer's brain. And they've got research after research after research. And I've used a lot of that and infused it into the training. So when I say this is built on research, this is where it comes from. Now, put a B in there if you would like to know how you can communicate with more people so they want to come and buy from you. Put an S in there if you want to learn sleazy sales techniques that you can rip people off with. I'm hoping to see a lot of B's in here, because if you put an S in, there's the front door right now, because that's not what you're going to learn. So that's the proven research. Let's bring it all up to date right now, how we got to this point. January 21, it was COVID. And like many of you, it was not kind to my business. A lot of the people that I was working with didn't have people coming through. They were on government support, and that certainly affected my business. I was like, well, what am I going to do? And I thought, well, I'm going to move my business virtually to the US. I thought, well, what am I going to do there? So I guess you would know that there's probably more than one or two coaches in America. There's probably more than one or two sales trainers in America. And this is going to be the first part of what we're going to be talking about, is how to stand out. So to stand out, I basically created a back pocket guide. I wrote something. I was the creator of the art and science of virtual selling. And I went with that as my point of positioning out there. So instead of being a coach, a sales trainer, a something, I was the creator of helping people that didn't have the long lunches and work with people. And with one introduction, and then being a podcast guest regularly, being invited on podcasts, took that one business in a foreign country in the middle of COVID from 0 to 6 figures in just 10 months. We've got a couple there. Every Every year since, I've been generating six figures just as a podcast guest. And it's a formula and it's a sequence. And it's like other people are out there teaching you, I'm going to help you get on 100 podcasts a year. Why do you want to do that? Don't you have a life? Don't you have a business? This six figures framework that I'm going to share with you in the next 40 minutes takes me 2 hours a week, getting on no more than 20 podcasts a year. Put an F in there if you want to learn a framework that can generate up to, if not more, and I see more, six figures with an additional 2 hours per week. Or swap some of the time you're wasting on social media. Because the value of podcasting and podguesting, the value of podguesting has far exceeded the value of social media right now. So, and here's where we get started. We better get onto the tool, the framework that we're going to be using right now. We get this out of the road. Okay, so we're going to be looking at positioning. Here's my pen. Positioning and your bankable story out of this, the first part of it. So we can't cover the whole of the framework. So this is what we're going to be looking at right now. So first and foremost, we talk about the brown box syndrome. Now, think about how you introduce yourself. If we say to either Amanda or John or Mark or Larry, you say, hey, what do you do? And most people will say, I am I'm an accountant, a coach, a trainer, a XYZ coach, a XYZ trainer. When you're an A, you are a brown box. You sit on the shelf with all the other A's out there. Okay? People won't know that you've got gold inside that box until they get to know you. But generally what happens, you're sitting on the shelf, you look, you taste the feel, same as everybody else. They will probably jump you on the lowest common denominator, which is generally price. And that's where A's get paid. They get paid the lowest amount. If you are a coach, a consultant, a trainer, a something competing with all the other A's out there, it's very competitive and very, very hard. When we work with you, we turn you into a the. What is your the? Now, there's people that are promoting, and this is good too. There's the generalists down there. That's the A's. Then there's the authorities. It's certainly a good level above. Then there's the creators. When you move from a generalist through becoming an authority to becoming the creator of, that's one of the things that we teach you in your bankable story. And when you're working with us, what are you the creator of? There's something there that you do, that you are the creator of your system. We also talk about your blueprint. You saw my blueprint there. I'm the creator of the PodGuest Profits Fast Track Blueprint. I'm a the. It's like, wow, tell me more about that instead of I'm a podcast coach. You're still another A. So one of the things that you need to look at right now, you can either type it in, say I'm an A or a the, is think, how can we take you from an A to a the? Because when you're looking at being a pod guest and you are a the, you will get on more high valued podcasts when you are a the. It opens up the conversation so much more. Cool. Write this down. Your perceived position predicts your profits. Your perceived position predicts your profits. Okay. Brendan Bouchard, a fairly well-known trainer, says that if you're not earning as much as you believe you should, it's your positioning. Okay. So in the next couple of slides, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of people that have gone from A's to these and how we work with them. Just grab this. Would you say a dentist is a brown box? A dentist. Yeah. At the end of today, I'm going to talk about the fast track program. I'm going to invite those of you who are ready and want to accelerate your business to come and join us. Gautam, that's actually how you say his name. I used to call him Gautam, but it was Gautam. Was a dentist, and in the second group mentoring, he said, Steve, I'm a dentist. I don't want to sell. Basically, he sat, he waited, people came through the door, they had a problem, he fixed it. People would come through with a broken tooth, he'd fix it, put a crown on it, be it $1,800. We looked at the people that were coming through, the real needs, generally the age, the fillings that they had, that they do break over time. And we worked with him on creating the Teeth for Life program. They would come through, they'd have an examination. Yep, that tooth's broken. I can fix that. By the way, there's 5 others that are going to break over the next 4 to 5 years. Would you like to save some time? Would you like to save some money? And more importantly, save 5 toothaches by fixing them now. So he went from not being able to sell, hated selling, to be able to conveniently offer anything up to a $40,000 program. And for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere that don't know what fortnightly is, that's every 2 weeks. We call it fortnightly here. It's not the computer game. It's every 2 weeks. So he was paid every 2 weeks. They were paying it off. He would open the doors every month knowing that there was $50,000 worth of income already set up to be billed that month. He added 7 figures to his annual income by just changing the packaging and changing the positioning and the pricing. Put a P in if you think going from a dentist to the creator of the Teeth for Life program was of value to him. Now, to date, we've created over 7 7-figure businesses out of our group mentoring, and hundreds of 6-figure businesses just coming from the group mentoring. Kate's got her hand up. Do you want to type a question if you've got in there, Kate? And I could do it as we go. We've got a little mini break in a second. Okay, so that's one. Moving from an A to a V. The next one, from an office support VA. Is that, I've typed it in the ugliest brown that I could find. That was an accident that he did that? No, it's a process we go through and uncovering. An office support VA. That's very, very brown box. But when again uncovered, what's the real work, the real value that they did and they provided for those people? She actually worked with businesses and supported them on implementing business software to help them grow their business. But she was calling herself an office support VA and charging accordingly. When we turned it around and turned her into a business growth specialist, and she created this blueprint. Here is how I work as a business growth specialist. Yeah, I do this and work with them, and they annotate and they collectively say, wow, you've got a system to help me grow my business, not you're a VA. Everything changed. Absolutely everything changed. So what happened was she had more clarity. She could communicate better what it was she did. She communicated the value better, what she provided in value, not what she did. She had better energy. Instead of saying, oh, yeah, I'm a support VA. Yeah, no, I am the creator of the business growth system blueprint. I'm a business growth system specialist. Her energy was different and she got more clients. Here's what's happened in 2 weeks. She increased her fees 50%. And within the first 2 weeks of creating this, she got 5 brand new clients at the higher rate. Now, she'd actually been coming to masterclasses like this, free masterclasses, and hadn't implemented anything. Learned it all, but hadn't implemented. But in the first 2 weeks of implementing it, her whole business has changed. Now she's got VAs that work for her because she's expanded so much. So looking at where she's at now, is it valuable to create your positioning and create your blueprint and communicate it in a way that other people can understand? So positioning is a massive tool that you need to think about. One of the other things that we do, and we encourage you to do, is think about and create. Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Bi-weekly means every 2 weeks and also twice a week. Yeah, so we just call it fortnightly. We don't get confused. It's every 2 weeks. Your bankable story. How many times have you been on a podcast or listened to somebody and they get on and they say, oh, just tell us your story. And they rattle on about, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this. And people are informed about you. Whereas your bankable story has a couple of short segments to it where you start off with what is most appropriate to your audience so they feel just like you. It's the JLM part of it. Then you go through the transition that you either have made or you've helped people. And then you finish off with how what you've learned, what you've done, and how you've changed it is helping people and quantify them. So in just 90 seconds, you can have people understand where you were at and the struggles that you had, what you've developed, and how you are helping people with what you've developed. And at the end of it, you have the when Harry met Sally effect. They're listening to your bankable story and they say, I want what they're having. Would that be of value to learn how to create your bankable story? I'm not going to ask you to put BS in there because that could stand for something. Just put B in there for bankable. Don't put BS in there. Bankable story is the lifeblood of you being able to communicate at networking events, in podcasting, seminars, sales conversation. When you get this formula right, everything changes and you can have a number of different bankable stories and they can run from 60 seconds, 90 seconds to 3 hours. It's the framework to be able to have people to, yeah, you're just like me. Therefore, you'll probably have empathy with me. Wow, you've created that. That was pretty impressive. And you are helping those people. I want you to help me the same way as you're helping those people. That's what your bankable story is all about, not just to tell people all about you. You'll see another one from Leanne. Leanne is just finishing our last program. She'll probably come back and do another bit. She's in a networking group where you're giving 40-second pitches. Okay. So she's been going back over the notes, getting ready for one of her networking events. She rewrote it into a 40 seconds. So she used the bankable story framework, turned it into 40 seconds, and in her words said she nailed it. She won the best intro of the day, but most importantly, for the first time ever, had a ton of business owners wanting to connect. So by having that 40-second bankable story framework, who she was and why they should talk to her. And she's so excited because she's got great stuff. She said, I know how powerful my work is, but I haven't been able to communicate it effectively. She's so excited about what's to come. Hey, May's here. And this is something that I got from you only last week. So thank you for your comments. And again, talks about the bankable story. Great support in the program. Thank you. My progress has been down to the teaching about having the value of a bankable story. Okay. We can't stress it enough about your bankable story and how you can communicate who it is and what you do. But the other thing that the people that are getting from coming through the program, it's more than just pod guesting. When you learn the tool of the bankable story, as I said, you could use it in your podcasting, you can use it in your networking, you could use it for referral. So people know your 90-second bankable story and tell others about you. And you could use it in your sales conversation. That's the value of the multiple uses. And another one in a breakout room and in person. networking event. They were asked to say what they did and include a story. So she used it. She was in one of the breakout rooms where you practice this with other people in our training. Afterwards, in the mingle, there were people coming up and seeking her out because of the communication. The fact this stuff really works. How you position yourself is everything. LJ, been great in the programs. She said, Steve, this is more than just podcasting. This is helping my whole business grow. One last little bit of teaching on this, and you're going to have to do some work now. The agreed implementable value, or you'll probably see me write on the screen, AIV. That really is the only thing that you're selling. The agreed implementable value. It's the value that they agree, either in their head or collectively with you, that that's the value that I'm going to get if I work with you. A lot of people sell the box value. Hey, you get X number of calls, you get X number of hours, you get X number of this, you get X number of this. So what? I don't really care what's in the box. I care with what I'm going to get when I work with you. Or as we say, what do I walk away with? Okay. So as you're thinking about your communication, instead of saying, hey, I have a program that, you can get this, this, and this, is what is the value that you're going to get from that actual program? So in the next, let's just say 30 seconds, if you were to work on your positioning, work on your bankable story, your packaging and how you communicate it, don't need to type it in, but write down what would it be if you generated just an extra 1 or 2 clients per month, just because you changed your bankable story. If at the end of a podcast, we're going to get into that next, if at the end of a podcast, you got an extra 1 call. If you're networking and you do either online or in-person networking, you had 2 to 3 people per month come to you and want to work with you, because people know how to talk about you and just say, hey, I've got a good friend. They are a physiotherapist or a physical therapist. It's like, well, I know a lot of physical therapists. Oh, hey, I know this great therapist. They've got this fantastic 3D back care program. You should check them out. Oh, that's interesting. So referrals, just from having your unique authority positioning, your bankable story, and tools for other people to use to talk about you. And pretty well guaranteed that that would result in a minimum of 2 to 3 additional clients per month just talk about you. Put in C if you think it's 1 client, 2 C's if you think it's 3, and whatever. How many clients do you think you can actually generate by just changing your positioning and your story? 2 or 4 C's. Okay. Isn't that a brand? Got some 2 C's, 3's, and whatever. Okay. So far, we've done the first bit, your positioning, standing out. The next bit is the real exciting bit, probably one of the big reasons you're here, PodGuesting. What it is, what it does. And again, I'm going to give you some frameworks that you can think about and take away, and I'll show you some other areas. And when I first started, guess what? I made some mistakes. This was almost a deadly mistake. Those of you who are in business, marketing, sales, you may know these people here. To me, they were the gods of marketing. Dan Kennedy, Seth Godin, Jay Abraham, Rob Cialdini, Rich Sheffrin, they were. And it was only a couple of months into my podcasting career, I'd been invited onto this, and I looked at these people and thought, oh, damn. And yet, believe it or not, I was feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome. It's like, wow, I got to stand up next to these people. So it was a pre-call chat. And within that pre-call chat, the guy says, yeah, they are brilliant minds. Yeah. He said, so Steve, you've been referred to me. What is it that you do? And I went down the typical cookie cutter route. And there are some words that are banned when you come and work with me. And I'll tell you what a couple of them are very shortly. I went down the route of, I am a and I help these people get these results. Put a Y in there if you've either said it or heard somebody say that when they're either looking to get on a podcast or in a networking event. I am A, and I help people do this. It was almost suicide. And I used it. That was the last time I used it, but it was almost suicide. I thought, okay. He said, oh, you're just a sales trainer. Now, at the beginning of the conversation, he said, Steve, if you are selected, we record around 2 to 3 months in advance. And I thought, well, okay, I can wait. Sounds good. Then he said, you're just a sales trainer. I thought, how do I get out of here? And then I thought, well, okay, I got some interesting nuggets. I said, well, yeah, well, I can help your people break out of the brown box syndrome. He said, what's that? And we discussed it and how their people would benefit from it. And then we can show them the emotive sales pendulum that we use. And he said, what's that? He said, well, this is how we use it, and this is how your people can benefit from it. And by the time I did that 2 or 3 times, each time he was leaning closer and closer, he said, Steve, this is great. Do you have time in the next 2 weeks? And we can record it. I want to get this out to our people. So I went from I am A and I help people with this to creating a little framework that's like, well, that worked. I went back, looked at what it was, what it did, and that's the framework that we teach everybody. In fact, we have a complete segment, a complete module on how to have the pre-call chat. Because when you have the right pre-call chat and you get them excited about the information that you're going to give them, then everything changes. And I think we've got Deb's here, and I paraphrased this. Deb is a guest and a host, and she was having a conversation with one, and she actually followed the exact framework. Before she could invite this person to be a guest, she wanted to talk to her about partnering up and let's create a program together. They created the program together and used the actual PodGuest episode to promote it. Now, when you have your pre-call chat, and I'm going to get into the 4 different ways you can monetize podcasting in a minute, it is not, a lot of people think, oh, why do I need to get on a pre-call chat? I've got my camera, I've got my microphone, you've got my questions. This is just a waste of time. 80% of my podcasting revenue comes from the pre-call chat. 80%. 20% comes from the actual episode itself. So when you learn how to have a pre-call chat that generates great things, then your actual business is going to explode. And here are the basic 4 ways that we work with it. The first way is the typical way. It's do the episode, do a fantastic job. Unfortunately, a lot of people are taught, share your story, share your expertise, and share a link to a free gift or something. You heard that? Yeah, 3 shares. Share your story, your expertise, and a gift. There are so many different parts to the actual podcasting itself. There's the things that you can do before, during, and after. When you're on a call and you use the right framework and the formula too, if I got time, I'll do it quickly. When you're on your call, there's 3 relationships. There's the host, there's you, the guest, and there's the audience. Most people will get on and write this one down. Be the prize, not the professor. Most people will get on and be the professor. I want to give you all of this information. I want to give you lots and lots of information, and that's about it. Hopefully, if they think that I'm smart, you'll come and find me. Okay. But when you work with these 3 and you have the right energy flow, then people will be running towards you. So if you do the right pre-call chat, there's you and the host have got a great relationship. They're excited. They've got great energy, and they may be doing other work with you. Then there's you and the audience. There are so many times that I listen to a podcast, watch a podcast, and I feel as if there's 2 people in the corner having fun, talking to each other. and they're forgetting all about me. Okay. So you've got to bring the audience in. There's scripts and frameworks and bringing the audience in. And I've got Mark on my screen now. He's my host. So, Mark, great question. Thank you for asking that. And this one is just for your people. This is for your audience because I know they're going to get great value out of this next bit now. So I've just pulled the audience in. I've given them a surge of oxytocin. That's the belonging drug. Because I'm talking just for them, and you get ready because this is valuable stuff for you, whether you're watching it now live or the replay, get your pen ready because this is just for you. I've made them feel special. And that's, wow, okay, that's some good hormonal flow there. But the forgotten relationship is the relationship between the host and the audience. You're there because of the host. They're there because of the host. And if you can elevate and edify the host in front of their people and say, Larry's my host, and say, Larry, you know from all the fantastic work that you do in this area that, and I'll go on to answer my question. Now, what I've done with Larry is I've given him a surge of dopamine. It's like, wow, thank you, Steve. That's that, feel good achievement. He's put me on a pedestal. The audience thinks, well, wow, our host is somebody special because the guest is talking nicely about them. Now, when you have these things flowing around, the energy in the actual podcast totally changes. And when you can take care of that and those three relationships, then the results at the end, people don't want to leave. They have such a good time. They have such a good relationship with you. The know, like, and trust goes through the roof. That alone, type in 3R. If you think 3R, the three relationships in a podcast is something that is powerful, because I know it is. It makes so much difference. 3R in a podcast changes your results phenomenally, and it's not that hard to learn. So when you've got here, instead of saying, oh yeah, I have a free lead magnet, blah, 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 you're going into a funnel and hopefully I get a call. When you do it this way, you have them running to want to do things with you. And that is a big, big change in results just in the guesting. Then there's pass on referrals. When you have your unique language, you tell a unique story, you excite the people in the actual event, they're excited to share other people. The hosts are excited to share with you with other people because you've been such a good guest. I now have people coming to me asking for people on different topics because they've done my program and they now know that they will be an awesome guest and make the host look like the hero. Your job in guesting is not to get on there and rah, 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 look at me. Your job in guesting, if you want to make money, is to make the host look the hero and give the audience such an awesome experience that they don't want it to end. Most people think, I just need to do a good job and put on a good show. No. You'll get a clap, you'll get a pat on the back, you'll walk out the door, and that's it. So when you excite them, they will want to talk about you. The next two are where the money is. It's all about partnering and promoting, joint venture relationships, affiliate relationships, creating products and programs together. That's where it all happens. We have a little sequence that we do in the pre-call chat. We give them 3 nuggets. They get excited about that. Then it's a matter of, hey, we pull out a blueprint. Hey, here is where all of that information comes from. I've got a blueprint. I've got a system where all of this comes from. And we've got John or Amanda. Is there anything else here that you think would be of value to your people? Wow. Tell me a little bit more how you work. This looks interesting. Bang. And then like, wow, I've got more than just my podcast. I've got a community. I've got clients. I've got this that need this information. Really? Hadn't thought of that. Well, how can we work together? Let's get that sorted after our event. Okay. And here's some people that have done the exact same thing. One of our students in February did the pre-call chat exactly as they were taught. They booked a webinar and she made $12,000 before the podcast was even recorded. Would anybody like to make money from podcasting before they even record anything? Would that be a value? Would that be a yes, please? Uh, Here's one that I did only a few months ago. We had the pre-chat. We booked a 90-minute workshop for 20 of their clients. I netted 14K from that. We co-created a product together, and that's now selling an average of between 2 and 4,000 per month. That's partnering, and we did it. I implemented everything that I'm teaching you, got some people excited, and two actually joined a 10K program. Now, that is because of the 4 Ps. When you walk in, the podcast is the doorway to opportunities, not the destination. Too many people think of it as the destination and put all the pressure on being a good guest. When you have a framework that you know that you could go in and leverage podcasting, it makes a massive, massive difference. Nancy, who's actually a sales trainer, a great sales trainer, she says it's falling into place. She did the first collaboration event. They're going to use the podcast to promote it. Okay, that's a partnership and a promotion as well. And that really makes a difference. Okay, so just put 4P. Michael, thank you so much. Agree. A lot of times collaboration is way more valuable than one client. Put in 4Ps if you want to now leverage pod guesting with 4Ps more than just one, because that's what it's all about. Okay. One question that I get asked: where do I find podcasts and where do I get found? Some of you may or may not already have the Ultimate Podcasters Directory. We teach you how to use it a different way for market research more than just getting a list. Those who come and join our program will get 3 months on the joint venture directory for free. They've got over 300 podcast hosts. They get 1 million visits per year. But the real kicker, I've just done a partnership with Tony from Guestify. They've had a little bit of tech issues, but this month they're going to run a masterclass for my people. You'll get free access to a $97 challenge, and you will be guaranteed out of that your first 3 interviews minimum. He said they may get 10, they may get 20. Okay, so we've been working with Tony. The tech will be ready for this month. So for those of you who are stressed, where do I get on podcasts? Where do I do this? Don't worry, we've got you covered. I'm not a booking agent, but I tell you what, the work that you learn will make it so much easier for you to be able to get in and do all of this. Okay, so let's have a look at the value of pod guesting to you. Again, if you think that you might get one client per podcast and you do 2 a month, that's 2 clients a month. Let's just say they're only $500. That's an extra $1,000 per month. If you do this as a regular client generation system, not I might do a podcast this month. No, I do it as a system. Okay, 2 hours per month. In fact, I'll give you the 2 hours right now. That's 12K per year. What if you only did one event? Have you ever had pens that don't write neat and they don't spell well? Mine never spells well. One event. And let's just say you do one event every quarter and you make just 5K from that event, just a collaboration event. That in itself is an extra 20,000 for the year. Pod guesting, leveraged well, adds up. What would it mean to you if you know, okay, I know I've got a great program. It's more than 1,000. I know how to sell. I know how to do this. I can run webinars. I can run workshops. I can now leverage to do all of that. Here's my 2 hours per week. Building a 6-figure business podcasting. 30 minutes is what I call R&R. Research and reach out. Okay, that's 30 minutes. 1 hour per week, on average, give or take, is pre-chats. Getting on pre-calls, starting to do some joint ventures. Once we start doing joint ventures, it goes out of the podcasting timeframe and into my marketing and sales. And then on average, 30 minutes per week because I only ever do 2 podcasts per month. That's it. I don't do any more than 2 per month. So that there, 2 hours, generates everything that you're seeing right now. Put in 2H if you think it would be valuable to find 2 hours somewhere to implement this. Because when you've got the framework and the system and you go bowling with the bumpers up, your ball's not getting lost. You don't have to go looking for it. You're implementing a proven system. So back to the blueprint. We've talked about positioning, your bankable story. We've talked about the 4Ps in podcasting. Let's quickly look at the sales part of it, and then we look at what it is that we can do to bring it home all together for you. Okay. As you see, I've seen a couple of times, we talk about blueprints. Blueprint, you get access to training to create a blueprint. Blueprint is a collaboration tool where you are working, talking with people. This is the end blueprint of a conversation, somebody doing one of my coaching programs. We worked together. We did a collaboration. We worked out what the agreed implementable value would be if they did this. We looked at their packaging. We looked at their blueprint. We looked at collaborating. Yep, if we did this, yep, that would work. That's great. And at the end of it, from what they were doing, and who have we got here? We've got Joanne in my bottom corner here. So Joanne, by the look of it, from what you've said, if we were to put this system into your business, that's an extra $24,000 per month. That's an extra $72,000 in the next 3 months. Quick question. Should we get started on this sooner rather than later?
Well, why haven't we started?
That's a real live example of somebody that did say yes. Now, was that heavy? Was that pushy? Or was that comfortable? Was that helping somebody create a solution where they could visually see what it meant to them? And while you're talking, those numbers keep adding up. There's a lot of psychology behind it. They're subconsciously absorbing all of these numbers all of the time. And when you get to this, they basically say, well, of course it makes sense. We probably should do this. Is a financial advisor a brown box, a financial planner, a financial advisor? Is it more than 5 of them around? Probably 500,000. This guy came to me. He was a part of a franchise, certainly wasn't standing out, and he was relying on company-generated cold call leads for him. So we looked at, again, who he was, what he did differently. He had a few things that he did differently. So we created his accelerated wealth creation blueprint. People would book in for a 3-dimensional financial review because he could do their planning to make sure they retired comfortably. He could reduce their mortgage expenses because he was a mortgage broker. And as an accountant, he could look at their structure and their tax. He could be standing side by side other people from Yellow Brick Road at a trade show, and he would be 4x their leads. It's like, hey, instead of saying, hey, I'm a financial planner, want to buy financial planning. He was like, hey, I'm a little different to most. I've got this complete accelerated wealth creation system. And we'll do a 3-dimensional review of your finances to make sure you can retire comfortably, reduce expenses, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, wow, I want that more than brown box financial planning. So here's some of the results because of we changed the positioning, changed the blueprint, changed the sales conversation to actually have 84% of cold postcode or zip code generated leads would actually show up to a meeting. He collaborated, not convinced, instead of trying to sell them. He doubled his fees, doubled his conversion rates, and doubled referrals. I'm not going to work out the numbers on that, but it was about 8x. So much so that when his time in his franchise ended, we created Your Local Money Mentor. He went from a struggling franchisee to a franchisor using our system, helping more people do that. Is that a good transition by just the positioning, the packaging, and the communication? Went from struggling to now owning his own major franchise. And that is a huge difference. The next 2 minutes I'm going to give you fast, but you do not want to miss a word. This is based on the neuroscience, the order that you have information, insights, and questioning from that company that I showed you on. And we've taken it one step further. It is the most powerful sales, podcasting, referral, networking, conversation framework on the planet. Here it is. I'm going to give it to you. You could walk away today and have a crack at it. Data. That's a little bit of info. Give some information. And most people will give some more information, some more information, some more information. Narrative. And that's basically the framework that we teach of the hero stories, a set framework. Quantify. Again, my pen's not spelling correctly. What you need to do is quantify the results that they have. And then if it is one-on-one, quantify the results that the other person is getting. Just like I showed you on that blueprint there. Let's quantify that. And there was some D and QCs all the way through that conversation with the framework and the blueprint. And then confirm. Because I preach what I practice, not practice what I preach. I preach what I practice. Have you seen me give you some information, share a story about how somebody's using it, show the results that they're getting, and get you to work out what would it mean to you if you implemented those results themselves? When you learn this framework, you can have that in your podcasting. Answer a question, and that would be, hey, Deb's my host. Fantastic, Deb. Here is some information on this, blah, 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 blah. That reminds me, somebody that I worked with, this will be handy for your people at home to see how this works. Blah, 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 got these, did this, had this problem, got these results. Here's where we're working with. And Deb, I'm sure many of the people listening to this would want those sorts of results too, wouldn't they? That is a DNQC, really abbreviated, a flow. It is a conversation flow. When you have the framework to have those conversations, it makes a huge, huge amount of difference. Okay. Type in DNQC for the whole lot of words if you know or believe that DNQC would be something that would help in your podcasting, your networking, your sales conversations, the whole thing would enhance, and it builds your sales and sends it through the roof, and you have a good time doing it. Sashua has gone through our program. The pre-podcasting call, good question. It could be as little as 10 minutes. And I've had one that goes over an hour because we just went down so many rabbit holes, but we created one hell of a business out of it. So the pre-podcasting call, most people would allocate about half an hour to go through that. No, say, yep. So good question, Randy. So Sashua, a leadership trainer and now a speaker coach. And one of the things that she got out of this was the DNQC is really starting to flow. And now she's closing 100%. She's not a hotshot salesperson. She's nothing special. Well, she's a lovely lady, but she's nothing special as far as the sales goes. Now, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Of the people that you've seen today, are any of them wearing capes and lycra? Are they superheroes? Are they achieving those results because they're special, they're born special, or they're any different to you? We're going to say no, because most of them are very, very similar to you. Got businesses, got great intentions, want to serve people, but they also want to grow their business. A, to better support the people that they love, and B, support more clients. And the DNQC, I cannot stress enough how much it's changed my sales and life and most other people's as well. So quick question before we move on and give you a great invitation as to how the hell do we put this together? What would be the value of making sales easier? What would be the value if all this did was increase your close rate 20%? I don't know what your sales rate is, but if you're having 3 calls and you're getting 1 client, what would it mean to go from 3 calls, having 1 client, to getting 2 clients out of that? What would being able to have the confidence to go into a sales conversation, know that you've got the bumpers up, you got a framework that's not going to let you fall off the rails? So what is the value of more and easier sales to your business? Now you can think about the numbers, and I want you to think about the numbers, because for you to do something, even if it is just to take this away and invest your time to try and work it out yourself, you're investing time. Okay, and that's costing you. Or we've got programs that I'm about to let you know and give you an invitation, then that might be something that you can join as well. For those that are running off a little early, that's okay. If you want to catch the rest of it, there'll be a replay available and you'll all get access to it. So here's what we're looking at. The implementation of the complete PodGuest Profits Fast Track system. And the last part of it is more clients, higher value, easier sales, and consistency. If you want to invest those 2 hours per week, do what I do on a week in, week out basis, you can build a constant flow of clients. If you want to just say, oh, that's a good idea, I might get on a podcast one day. Cool. Get on a podcast one day. Enjoy it. But if you want to grow your business, come and join us, because today I've given you about this much. I've given you, I put type of V in, please, if I've actually given you value today. If you believe that I've actually given you great, 3 Vs, great value today, because that's the first thing, give you great value. There's still this here, but this is the info. Info's useless. It's this. And that's the implementation. You can walk away today with all of this, but unless you implement it, today was a waste of time. It was a good time, I hope, but it was a waste of time. It's the 90% here that makes the 10% here make the money. And that's the big thing that you got to think of. What am I going to do and how can I implement it? I'm going to invite you to stay for another 10 minutes where I will show you exactly what many of the people before you have gone through and some of what everybody has gone through. And it is the fast track. It's our fast track program. It's the get started, let's get some fast results, let's get some momentum program. It is the launch pad. And it comes in a couple of major parts. There are some online training. There's the blueprint conversion system that everybody, the dentist that added 7 figures, the financial planner that's created his own franchise, the speakers, everybody has had access to and gone through this program. It is the foundation of my highest $20,000 coaching program, and you get it as a part of what you do here. It's an online program. You get the online PodGuest Profits program, which has got the training. It's also got pre-recorded Q&A sessions from other groups. That's in there as well. And the video mastery. Would it be helpful if I gave you my secret tips and tricks from a 10-day video mastery course to help you get in front of the camera and connect with people? Would that be worthwhile? Because we don't go into it too much, but if that's there, and it's going to show you how you can really get the connection with the people. So that's the online part of it. And those of you who join get immediate access to that straight away. Then we've got the group mentoring. That's where a lot of the magic happens. That's where I get to work with you. Now, you've typed in a V, and we're coming up to the 90-minute mark. What would it be like to have this structured, going through, and me spending 90 minutes with you every week for 6 weeks? Do you think there'd be some value in us spending 90 minutes together and me answering your questions and working with you and overcoming any hurdle? That's all part of the group mentoring. So that's the framework. For those of you who are coming to join us today, That's the absolute framework of what's in it. Blueprint conversion system, I thought I'd break it up for you that little bit. Creating your unique authority positioning. You saw the value in that. Your high value programs, yeah, they've all got value in that. How to build your blueprint. It's gold. When you have your blueprint, life changes. And learning the DNQC, how to sell without the hard selling. That is the blueprint conversion system. You get immediate access to that. Hey, does anybody here like fast results? Like fast results? I'm not going to get you to type in. Here's one. This is a video. I'm not going to play it, but Ryan went through the program. Steve, I devoured the Blueprint Conversion System online course over the weekend. You can do it in a whole weekend. Got clarity, reworked his positioning, created his blueprint. So Saturday and Sunday he worked, and then the following day it worked for him. On the Monday, I used it and signed a $15,000 client. Best investment ever, hashtag. Fast results. I'm not going to say you're going to get results that quick, but that was quite a reasonable investment. He is a podcast host and he teaches people how to build and leverage their podcasts. He's got great value out of all of this, but he got fast results by doing the work. I'm going to take a little bit of time to go through this, just about less than 60 seconds. We will work on your bankable story. You've already seen the value of that, but not only for podcasting, but for your whole business. Master the pre-call chat. You master this chat, you master networking face-to-face, online. You master sales calls. The pre-call chat is phenomenal in being able to spread it right across your whole business. How to build the 3 relationships. How to use the DNQC, the storytelling framework. How to use language that excites audience to action without any pitch whatsoever, using the 4 Ps, clients, calls, collaborations, etc., and the resources of where to find podcasts. That in itself is absolutely worth thousands of dollars. It has been worth 6 figures every year to me for the last 3 years. What it's worth to you is up to you. Remember, you get the resources, where you get found and where you can find podcasts, quality podcasts. That's all part of your program because we don't leave you behind. The big thing is, let's have a look at, and hey, I do have to tell you what the box value is and what it is. So I'm not ignoring the box value. The Blueprint Conversion System, even though it's a part of my $20,000 program, if I sold it separately, do it yourself, is 19. The PodGuest Profits Training, if you bought it separately, was roughly 15. The Video Mastery, which was the 10-day program we did a couple of years ago, was 1,500. The 6 weeks personalized mentoring, I can put another 2 or 3 zeros on that. The value of that, creating 6 and 7 figures in me mentoring, is invaluable. And the private group support. You get group that are going to be there to help you. And those who are here in a part of my program already know what it's like to have a group around you that is supporting you. That in itself is basically, it's a $7,000 package. And if all it did was generate those couple of extra clients per month and one event per month, that's $30,000 just in that little bit there generated from this. And there will be more. But the biggest question is, I'm not selling a course. Here's what you really get. You get your unique authority positioning that you keep for life. You don't give it back at the end of 6 weeks. This isn't a 6-week course. This is how to change everything in the first 6 weeks. You get skills for life. What would it be like to know that you can get in front of the camera at any time? Somebody could throw you on a podcast. You can get up in front of a networking group and you could rattle off your pitch that people are going to come to you. You're going to have skills for life. Then you can turn those skills into more referrals, better networking results. You've seen people, more podcasts, more clients, more collaborations, and easier sales. To me, personally, that's 6 figures every year. That's the results when you work the system properly. I do it 2 hours a week. I'm lazy. but it still generates good results. So that's what you really get. One of the guys that's gone through, he actually just gave this the other day. This is not a game changer. It's a life changer. He was a podcast guest on one podcast after another and after another. But for what? Sure, he did a great job being interviewed, but that was fine. What was coming out of it? Nothing, nothing, nothing. The program basically changed his life for the better, being able to know that consistently you are in control of getting on the right podcast, giving the right information, and leading them to want to work with you. This is an ugly slide because it just came in last night. One of the girls has used this in her networking. She's used it along with, I think Deb's now got a series. She's a first-time podcast guest. On her second ever podcast guest, following the framework, as she had sticky notes stuck all over a screen, so she remembered to work with the host, work with the audience, do this. So she put the bowling bumpers up. On her second ever podcast, the host said, "This is fantastic. Can we do a series?" Last night, she posted this, that now she is invited to speak on this event. The biggest names in business share their secrets. One thing I didn't tell you, it also helps with PR. It will get you visible. It'll get you on more summits, more speaking gigs, the lot. So from what she's done in just the 6-week program, she's got clients coming to her in networking events. She's got a series on somebody else's podcast, and now she's speaking on a summit, and she's got clarity around her business that she can talk about. What you will get in these 6 weeks has transformed her business. Absolutely. You get your group mentoring. This really is where the magic happens. If you can't make it, you get 60 to 90 minutes. You get a Facebook group. They are recorded. You get advanced training. You get the Q&A, and you also get breakout rooms where you can practice your bankable story, where you can practice your DNQC in a podcasting. You can practice your hosting. You can practice all of this in the breakout rooms. And when we let you loose, you will be ready. So very quickly, the online training you get immediate access to now. Hunter, would you like to put the link in now for those who want to go and grab that and get immediate access? Group mentoring for this group is Wednesday, Sydney time. It now changes to 8:30. It's US time, 4:30 and 7:30. Stay tuned. We've got to juggle with everybody going on and off daylight saving. So they're your group mentoring times, and we start next week. If you're going to join us, join now, because that's when you're going to get immediate access, and you're going to be absolutely primed and ready for this time, half an hour earlier, this time next week. So if we pull it all together again, I'm not going to run through it like a slick salesperson. That is a fraction of the implementable value that you put into your business. You should be able to make that back in the first 6 to 8 weeks when you start getting the flow of it all. There's the link there. But this is a crazy one for you guys. You can actually get started today in a business and life-changing program for just $275 USD. Just 2 payments, $275 USD. That comes to, if you want to save a little bit of money, you can actually do it on 444, 1 payment only USD. The reason we're USD is a universal currency. We have people from, I think we've got 10 countries coming to the program. So to get one client, to get life-changing skills, to get a whole business renovation and mentoring for a starter price of $275. Where else can you change your business and or your life for $275? You can't do it anywhere. The big thing that you can think about is, what else could I do to do the business? If you want to set up your framework, if you want to set up your system to be able to flip the switch for 2025, then it's going to be here. You've got the packaging, you've got the framework, and you have the mentoring to be able to hold your hand through it. I said I was a sprinter. Therefore, I do respect and reward fast action takers. For those of you who are going to join us in the next 48 hours, you will get the Gold Pass. Now, the Gold Pass it's 12 months. Your 6-week program has now just become a 12-month program. You can come back and repeat as often as, and I know there's a couple of faces here that have come back for the third time and are getting so much more next time because they're seeing it differently and they're getting different questions answered. So if you want to get a 12-month program that's going to have me holding your hand whenever we do live training, you are invited back. You never have to leave the group. You've got complete access to all of the training. We're going to be changing your business. Then this is for you right now. Dom, sorry, has come through, says, thank you for allowing us to come back for repeat sessions. I'm getting so much value second time around. I get to work on different things. Now, when you look at this price and you think, Steve, we get you a high-level coach, now it's 12 months. What's the catch? Why is it so cheap? What's wrong with the program? There's nothing wrong with the program. I've got ulterior motives. I have another program and another program. Now, would it be okay if I get you started on this program and help you make enough money for you to say, Steve, I want the next program? If you have a coach that is invested in you making money so that you can step up to the next program and even get better results, I've thrown everything into this program right now to give you the foundation, to give you the momentum, and to hold your hand. Now, if you want to stay on this program, that's great. My goal is to help you take your business to such a higher level that you want higher level input and coaching. So why is it this affordable price? I want to make it affordable for all of you. See, unlike most people who profess to be experts in certain areas, but all they do is make their money teaching people how to become what it is. The truth is, I actually do make most of my money as a podcast guest, and it grows my business. This is my passion. This is excitement working with you people, but I'm not here selling the program to eat. Unlike other people who just sell programs, my commitment to you, and this is why it's a 12-month pass, is I am here to hold your hand. If it takes the 12 months, it takes the 12 months. I am not selling a course. I'm here to help you grow. I'm here to help your business grow. So another quick look at it. It is 12 months mentoring. It is a proven system. You will be able to have control and consistency over your client flow. You will get more clients, more referrals, and easier sales. And you can get all of that for whichever is easiest for you. Start today, $275 USD. Or you want to save a little bit of money, it's just $444 and we're underway. Jump in and get the program now. You get immediate access to all of the online training, and we get to start virtually this time next week. So you'll be able, you can turn up for this. You should be able to turn up for it next week. The other choice is stay where you're at. Whatever you're doing right now, is it on a path to take you to the trajectory that we have already calculated? The agreed implementable value, the value of being able to get a minimum of one new client per month, have an event every quarter, get better networking results, have people come up to you after you tell your bankable story, get more referrals. If all of that doesn't add up to 275 or 444, you're using a different calculator to me. Because to me, the 444 is a great way to get started. And you just keep coming back for the next 12 months and we will get you to that spot and you will get some great results. Leanne has got a interview series. She's got better networking results. People are queuing up to work with her. And now she's speaking on a summit in just the first 6 weeks. Would you like those results? The only thing you've got to do is you've seen other people that are just like you get great results. You've seen that the program works. Two choices. Do you believe I'm the person that can help you? If you're still here after 90 minutes and you've put up with me for this long, so you're okay to hang around with me. But the other question is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in what you do, the results that you generate your people to invest enough? Do you believe enough in yourself to invest 444? That's the only question right now. And if not now, when is the right time? And if not me, who is the right mentor? So if now's not the right time, it's perfect timing. You get your 6 weeks, you get your plan all set, ready to have a break, knowing that you've got everything covered. You got a system in place. Flick the switch, January 2025, and your machine can start working. It's a great way to have a holiday, knowing that you got everything in place, ready for the following year. More than, what am I going to do next year? You've got it all here. So as I promised, we're going to stop just on the 90 minutes or probably just a couple of minutes over.